Good evening, CLC. I'm Naomi Fida. Hope you're all doing well this Tuesday evening. So I know that I missed last week. We are actually in the process of packing up my house. So it feels like, from one day to the next, all of a sudden the weeks go by, which is okay. It's good. We're all doing well. But every once in a while, I definitely have been missing my evening devotional. So on Sunday, Pastor Rick was mentioning a book, Secrets of the Secret Place, which gave me cause to dig mine out. It's a book I got it probably 6 months ago and just slowly read through it when I remember to pick it up along with a morning devotional. And the part that I was on yesterday, a sentence just stood right out to me that I think ties very much into the topic that I've been talking about, which is peace. And so it's on chapter 5. It says, prayer is the constant calibration of the soul. And I just, thought of, I don't know, maybe a car. I'm not very much of a mechanic, but this aspect of prayer is like it's keeping our soul in check. It's keeping us on time, keeping everything in working order. And as I relate that to peace, often there's different elements of our emotions in our soul that we think, oh, if I'm in fear or if I'm feeling too anxious, that means that something's off. Which can very much be true, but sometimes it's those things that are causing us fear that we have to walk through, or those things that we're anxious about that we just have to bring them to God. So Philippians 4, which might be a well-known passage, but 4 verse 6, it says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all comprehension, shall guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." And here when it says the be anxious for nothing, I think that sometimes when we read that, we can maybe feel condemned if we are anxious, or if we do have things that are stressors in our lives. And yet what I really think he's saying is, in the anxiety, because we all have things that maybe we feel a little stressed about, we feel a little anxious about. Even for me, like moving, it's there's a little anxiety, the timing, making sure everything's done, and yet what he wants us to do is to bring those things to God, to bring them and to pray about them. This aspect of prayer, the quote that I just wrote, prayer is the calibration of the soul. And it's like when we bring those anxieties to God in prayer, whether it's just talking to him throughout the day and saying, confessing that we're anxious about something and asking his presence to come and to intervene and to carry us through. Then there's this letting go, and then there is this peace of God that can begin to guard our hearts and our minds. And one element of that is just the continually refocusing and reminding, and it's a spiritual thing, it's a supernatural thing, letting him remind us of who he is, how big he is in our situation, in our lives, and that he will get the glory in the end. But it's in prayer when we have that communion with him, when we allow his perspective to infiltrate us and become our perspective. And so then, in that thing that we might be anxious about, he's coming in and filling us with a different perspective and a different sense of this is who I am, this is how big that I am. So in on the second page of chapter 5. Sorry, I had a notification up on my phone. So in the second page of chapter 5, it even talks about, this is back in the secret place, the aspect of the feeding of the 5,000. And when Jesus asked them, well, where am I going to get bread for them, the people to eat, he wanted his disciples to look to him, to look for the heavenly perspective. And so the same, I think, is true with us. When we look around at our circumstances, sometimes we have these questions of like, what, how is this going to work? How is this going to happen? And yet we have the chance and the opportunity to look for a heavenly perspective and be reminded that he is the King of Kings. He's got the whole world in his hands. And whatever it is, he's going to carry us through. He's going to open the doors. And that's who he is. Because he's a good father to his children. And through that relationship that we have with him, he brings peace. He fills our hearts with peace. So that's all that I have for you this week. So I look forward to seeing you in church on Sunday, and just be reminded that if there's anything you're anxious about, just talk to God about it. He cares. He absolutely cares what is on your heart. So love you all. Talk to you soon.